about I'm going to be sharing. So I'm going to make sure that I record so I can send this out afterwards. But let's get rolling. I see so many familiar faces, but I still want to go over what Diffit does and do a quick pulse check to see, you know, if how many newbies we have here, how many different pros we have here, see how you're all feeling about it. So what does Diffit do? Step one, whatever you're teaching, we're going to be able to help you create resources. You can tell Diffit a topic, give it an article, give it a video link, a PDF. And then from that, we're going to be able to generate resources for you, a reading, questions, summary, on key vocabulary that you can use with your students. That can all be customized, right? We do use AI. That's how we create these resources. But we want to make sure that teachers can like fine tune and tweak and make it just right for their students. So everything is customizable once you generate the resources for your class. And then the last thing is you can turn it into those just right activities, right? The resources themselves are a really good step 1 and 2, but being able to turn it into something you can share with students immediately. Google Docs, Google Forms, and Google Slides. And if you're in a Microsoft district, you can actually now export our slides and doc templates to Word and PowerPoint, and you can download them all as PDFs as well. So let's do a little pulse check. How well do you know Diffit? There's no right or wrong answer here. Are you one, brand new, and you just kind of like stumbled upon this from the Facebook group? Are you a 5, a Diffit pro? I know we've got a lot of 5s in here, so if you're a 1 or a 2, don't be intimidated. Don't be intimidated. Just so I can get an idea of what things to talk about the most and what to focus on. Seeing lots of 4s, but I also think I saw a 2 or a 3 in there, so that's great to know. Amazing, amazing. So for those of you who are a little bit, oh, amazing. Oh, that's so exciting. I want to hear more about that after. So make sure we follow up afterwards to learn more about your presentation. And if anyone else is presenting on Diffit at any conference, please reach out to me. We always want to make sure that we're helping and supporting as much as we can. And I'll make sure I throw my email in the chat at the end, as well as our like generic teacher email that you can reach out to as well. So let's get rolling. Let's get going. Today, hopefully you heard that we launched a new feature called Original Text. Gosh, Natalie, I love seeing you celebrating in your video. As a former history teacher, this is good. Like, I am so excited about this, but there's also so many different ways I think it can be used in language arts, in science. When we talk about differentiating, right? Maybe you found the perfect text for your students or the majority of your students to start with, or it's something you normally use in your class. And then you want to adapt other resources as well. And so this should allow you to do that. So obviously when you're on literally anything, because that's the portion where it's using AI to generate a reading for you, not much has changed. But if we hop over to an article or video or any text or excerpt, it now starts with keep original for the reading level. And so you still have the option to adapt the reading for grades 2 through 12. You also still have the 50+ languages available for you when you're creating that first resource. But if you want to start with the original text, you can. So let me show you a few different ways this works. I'm going to hop over to this ThoughtCo article on why are yawns contagious. I'll grab the link. And let me hop back over here, paste that link in, say keep original, and generate resources. So now it's not going to adapt the reading at all, which does mean sometimes it might include all the text on the page, but you can still go through and edit and tweak it just right. Like I don't necessarily need it to have this information here. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that information. Oops, hold on. Get rid of that information on who the author is, but you might want to keep that depending on how you're teaching your class, right? So you're able to go through and make it just right for you and your students by editing and changing. You can see the full text by saying full text here. It gives you every single thing. All those sources that original article was written from are listed there. You've got your summary, key vocabulary words with definitions and example sentences, your multiple choice questions, short answer questions, and open-ended prompts. And then of course, from all of these, you can go up here, you can go to Get Student Activities, and you can choose the template you want to export to. For this first one, I'll try and show you guys all like one of each export option as we go through this. For this one, I can do the Google Forms quiz, choose what I want it to keep, open with Google Forms. It's going to take everything from that resource, move it over to Google Forms, again with that original text. And now the questions align to the original text. The vocabulary is from the original text instead of the adapted version, which was our only option prior. Absolutely love hearing how you all are presenting and sharing, how you're going to share on this. Thank you so much for the comments in the chat. Keep them coming. So from here, I can open the Google form. And there we go. It's all there. That full text, the summary, key vocabulary, multiple choice, and so on. And of course, since it's a Google form, you can still edit and change it here. You could turn it into sections if you want to. You have like the full ability to really make this just right for your students. So let's head back to Diffit if I can find it in my 8 million tabs here. Love hearing all the places we're showcasing Diffit. I'm going to head back to an article or a video URL, and let's do a video just so you can see what it does with that. So I'm going to grab this YouTube link for a crash course on what are volcanoes, head back to Diffit, make sure I'm on an article video URL, paste in that link and say keep original. Now, originally the way we were using videos was we were taking that transcript and adapting it to the reading level of your choice. But now with keep original, you can have the entire transcript from the video as the reading, and it's going to create the resources, the questions, the vocabulary from that transcript. As a teacher who used to teach a section of world history just for newcomer English learners, this would have been a game changer for me to have the transcript with vocabulary that goes with it and really be able to build a listening activity that is then reinforced with that reading and vocabulary as well. So we go through here, we have that full text, that full transcript is there. So it's going to be pretty long. It's going to keep going. It's going to keep going. The summary comes from that transcript, as do the key vocabulary. And of course, you can always add more here. Let's go ahead and add 5 more. We've got that multiple choice questions. We can add more. We can customize if we need to. The short answer and the open-ended prompts. And just like before, let's go ahead and do this printable doc here. So I'm going to say open with docs, and that full transcript is going to be moved over to that printable Google Doc as well as those activities. So far, how are we feeling about what we've seen? Tell me in the chat. 5, super excited. 1, kind of meh. Tell me how we're feeling on a 1 to 5. No worries if you're feeling meh about it. That's okay. I'm loving the 5s. I'm loving it. Okay. But it's okay if you're in a 1 or 2. If you're not impressed yet, that's also okay. That's also okay. 10, Courtney. Thank you. And I think I mentioned before that we now have the ability with our Google Doc exports and our Google Slide exports for PDF and Word doc downloads. So they're just right here. So you just click on more export options. So if you're working with teachers who are more comfortable working with PDFs, or if they're more comfortable working with Microsoft Word or Microsoft PowerPoint, those options are available now. Still going to open this Google Doc so you can take a look. We've got all those vocabulary, because remember I added more vocabulary, and we've got the entire transcript. And again, it's a Google Doc, so you could edit this and change it and make it just right for your students still. All right. Let's do the really fun ones now. I'm going to head back here, go all the way to the top. I'm going to say start new. And let's go to any text or excerpt. I'm going to make my screen a little bigger so you can see. Now from here, normally here you can paste in the document, you can paste in the text, or you can upload a PDF. We're going to start with uploading a PDF. I'm going to show you the PDF before I upload it. So here is the PDF of the Declaration of Independence that I'm going to upload. And this PDF is formatted in a way that would just be like way too intimidating and way too much for my students or my former students. So I'll go here to choose file. And oh my gosh, my screen probably cut it off, but I'm opening the file right now. I'm going to say keep original text, keep original language, and say generate resources. Just like before, it's kept everything here for us. And we've got this major reading here. You can still go in and edit and tweak it and make it just right. Like you still have the ability, if there's things you want to cut out because you've pulled it from a PDF, right? And you're like, oh, there's a couple paragraphs in there I don't want them to engage with. You can get rid of those before you do the export. but the questions and the vocabulary and the summary, all of that are now based on the original text, not an adapted reading. We can go to Get Student Activities. Let's go ahead and throw this into like one of our extended constructed response slides. And it's going to take all of this and move it over to Google Slides for us so students can work on it. The slides always take a little bit longer because it's moving it all over to individual slides. So it's got a lot it's got to make. More export options. We've got PowerPoint. We've got PDF, but let's open with slides. And here, this one's chunked the reading by paragraph. And again, you can still go through and like, this text might be a little small for my students. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Sometimes the sizing you will want to go and change. It's doing its best to move it over, taking its best guess. So you just go through and make it just right. You could add images. You can make it even more your own for your students before sharing it with them. How are we feeling so far? Any questions? I know a few people just jumped in while we were showing this. So if that's you, I'll go back through it again. I'm going to look through the chat, see if there's any questions before I show you one more way to use original text. Love that you're all so excited because I am so excited. All right. This was the fun one. So we're going to go Start New, any text or excerpt. And let me go ahead and grab this little bit of Shakespeare here. This is a PDF, so I could upload it from the PDF as well. I'm just going to copy paste some of it in, just so you guys can see how the formatting works as you move it over. Just going to copy paste. And let's grab a little bit more. We'll go right there and paste it in. So we've got this big chunk of Shakespeare here from The Tempest. I'm going to go ahead and say, keep original text, keep original language, generate resources. And we've got it all here. We can see the full text as well. The vocabulary is aligned to the original text, as are the multiple choice questions, the short answer questions, and the open-ended prompts. And now we can go Get Student Activities. And for this one, let's do, I think our SMILE analysis would work really well with this. We can grab a Google Slide template. We could grab the Google Doc template, Google Forms, any of those, import the resources and have it ready to use with students. So I know I just showed you kind of the same feature, I think 6 different times, 4 different times, but hopefully you're as excited as I am about what potential this has for making it even easier to make resources in the classroom really quickly. And like I said, there's still some fine tuning you're going to want to go through and do. You might want to change the font size on some things, always double check it, but we're really hoping that this makes that lift a little bit easier for teachers as you're lesson planning and as you're differentiating and making those just right resources. So now that I've gone through very quickly, I want to give you a second to play. I'm going to give us, it sounds like some of you already tried it, like Michelle said she already tried it, but I want you to try it for yourself if you can. I know some of you might not be in a place where you can, but we're going to take about 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Try it out. Once you've tried it and you're ready to move forward, just tell me in the chat what your overall favorite Diffit feature is. So go ahead and play, try. If you need the link to Diffit, diffit.me, go try it out. When you're ready to move forward, just put in the chat what your favorite Diffit feature is, and then we'll move forward to like Q&A and all of that. Love it, love it, love it. Kelly, we are in, that is not always true, but we have gotten this feedback before. And so I really appreciate you bringing it up. We are in the process of doing something that will really change the way that questions are created and how much customization you have on those questions. And it should also hopefully prevent that in the future. So I so appreciate you bringing up that sometimes they do repeat between the multiple choice and the short answer. And we have some exciting new features coming out, hopefully in January. I can't say much more, but that is definitely a big focus is questions. And I can't wait to share it with you. I got to stop talking before I get myself in trouble. Yeah. So thank you for bringing up that feedback, and it's definitely something we're working on. Love it. Differentiating instruction, translating into many languages in minutes. Don't forget, if there's a language you need that's not listed, when I give you guys the email at the end, just email us and let us know if there's additional languages you want added. We're adding new languages all the time. And that's the other cool thing on original text. When you do keep original text and then translate, you can also translate the original text into other languages instead of having to adapt and translate at the same time. So if you want to have side by side the original Shakespeare with also that text in Spanish or in French, you're able to do that as well. Or any of the 50 languages we have, you can do that. Amazing, amazing. So not necessarily like full-blown lesson plans with like the learning objective or the step-by-step. It's more so that like with these resources, if you look here, we give some like suggested lesson flows or suggested ideas for like how to go through this with your students. But if that is something, Kelly, if that's something that you'd really like to have, just keep sending in that feedback for us. You know, we're really responsive to teacher feedback. It's one of the ways that we figure out like how to make this even better, because we want this to be a tool for teachers. That's why it's Diffit for teachers. So if you feel like we're like almost there with the creating of the lesson plans, or if that's the thing that would really take this to the next level for you, keep sending in that feedback. I'll make sure to share that with the team as well. Oh, Natalie, I see your direct message. I am going to send you an email after. I think I know why. I think I know why. So I'll send you an email after and we'll get that fixed. I'm going to give us 2 more minutes for those of you still exploring. 2 more minutes. Individual teacher plans, we should have a formal announcement in January. We're thinking about $15 per month. That should be around what it is, but we're still fine-tuning what it's going to look like, how it's going to go, and all of that. And we promise to give you plenty of time before we make that formal announcement. So great question. All right. I'm going to move us forward. I'm going to move us forward. Let me go back to where we were. Loving the favorite. Can teachers plans be set up to take that part I don't know, Chrissy, but I will send that feedback. My understanding right now is that we plan to just do monthly payments with like a credit card, but I will be sure to pass on that feedback as well. Yeah. All right. Q&A time. I think we kind of were already in Q&A time, but I want to make sure that you have time to ask more questions. So what other questions do you have, especially now that you've seen original text? I know a few of you threw your questions in the chat. Are there questions about any other features? Great questions coming in so far about pricing and individual plans, but any other questions at this time? I love questions and I love the feedback. It just helps us make it even better. I'm going to give us just a minute or two to throw those questions in the chat. I think I got most people who had questions before, but I'm going to scroll back up and take a look. So we keep talking about math. We do. And I love this question about math problems and if it's in the work. At this time, it's something that like we know it's a limitation of what we offer, and our focus right now is literacy-based student activities. But it is something that comes up in conversation all the time. So that's another one. Like there was something else someone mentioned before. Oh, generating lesson plans. Keep giving us that feedback. Keep letting us know that it's something that teachers are interested in and want. That helps us kind of figure out our next steps as we plan the next year, next 2 years of what we're going to create for teachers. At this time, we don't have like an expected date. We're not tackling it actively. But the more that we hear from teachers of the need, the more we'll think about how to make that work and fit into what we're doing. Great questions. All right. Well, as a former teacher myself, I know this time of year, you're all probably so exhausted. And for some of you, it is very, very late. Oh, Michelle has her hand raised. So before I won't say my goodbyes just yet, go ahead and feel free to unmute, Michelle.
Okay, so I was just going to say about math. All the math people feel like they're left out of everything. And what I tried to explain to them is the most important thing about many of the math concepts is understanding them. So what I did is I said, give me something. So they said, solving linear equations. So we found a video on solving linear equations where they might utilize that in the classroom. And we turned it into a Divot lesson. And what was great about it is it broke it down to comprehending the steps involved and understanding what it was. And I think as I'm a librarian, but that's a great way to teach the math skill is coming from a reading comprehension. Because if you think any type of test that students are getting today, they have to be able to read the math question. So it is reading comprehension and understanding the concept. So maybe you could share that with your math teachers and see if they'll buy that, so to say.
I love that suggestion, Michelle. And, we do have a lot of math teachers. Well, of the math teachers we have, that's how they're using it. They're using it more to like explain the concepts or for conceptual knowledge. But I know there's also this desire for math problems because it is so hard to find lots of good examples of particular math problems. So thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing. And again, always learn so much when you all share your perspectives, how you're using it, how your teachers are using it. I saw this question about geographic skills. Ingrid, are you asking more so like, could it create maps? Because it can always talk about particular topics. Like, I don't know if when you talk about geographic skills, if you're thinking more about being able to explain the concepts. It can generate if you use literally anything, it can generate cited sources readings on almost any topic. Can you insert a topographic map? So you can, before you export the packet, if you go here, you could add your own, but that is also something we are working on. So that is something that's also in the works. But right now, if you go here to add image, if you had one of your own, you could add that in to go with the reading passage. But when it comes to like something being automatically generated or automatically provided, that is definitely feedback we've heard, and we are actively working on it as well. Love, love, love all this feedback, all these questions. Any other questions before we move on? If you still have questions, throw them in the chat. But like I said before, I'm a former teacher myself. It is the time of year, at least in the United States, where I know teachers are so exhausted. And for some of you, it's very late in the day. So thank you so, so, so much for showing up and being here. If you have questions, I'll stick around for a few more minutes. You can throw them in the chat. Otherwise, take down our email, weloveteachers@diffit.me. I'm also going to throw my email into the chat. It's super easy. It's just my first name @diffit.me. You can also reach out to me via our Facebook group, via Twitter, wherever you're at. Just reach out to us if you have questions. I cannot wait to hear how original text goes as you start using it with your students or sharing it with your teachers. Let us know what feedback you have. We always want to make this as the best possible as we can for teachers. So thank you all so much. You're welcome to sign off. If you've got questions, stick around. I'll stay on for a couple more minutes just in case. Thank you all so much. I'm going to stop recording as well.